Hey guys, today we're making this super cute and delicious strawberry Easter cake covered with this beautiful silky Italian meringue buttercream. It's gonna be to die for. Let's get started. We're starting off by sifting our dry ingredients. 1 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, and like a generous pinch of salt. Sift it up. 1 cup of granulated sugar. I'm gonna give it a really quick whisk and then just set aside. Now for the wet ingredients. 1/2 cup of sour cream, 1/4 cup of warm milk, 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/4 cup of strained and warmed strawberry preserves, just whisking it so it gets a head start. Now 3 egg whites. This isn't like making a meringue where you're gonna be really upset if the yolk gets in because it's ruined. It's okay, it's really just for the color. Otherwise I'd add the yolks in, no problem. Now I'm adding in 3/4 of a cup of almost melted butter. Give it a quick mix and we'll set aside as well. Now we're ready to add the wet mixture into the dry mixture and just whisk it up until it's combined. You could also do this in a standing mixer or with an electric mixer. Okay, really well mixed, and I can smell a little bit of strawberry and vanilla, which is amazing. But if you take a look, the color is a little bit gray and sad. That's natural colors for you sometimes. They don't act as vibrantly as you might like. So we're gonna add a tiny bit of soft pink food coloring just to help the process along. Okay, so now I have a nice soft pink and it'll be a little bit softer after baking too, so if your eyes are hurting, don't worry. Before I add the batter into the pans, I'm gonna prep them by buttering them and adding a tablespoon of flour, which I'm just gonna shake around to coat them, and they'll be perfect. No need for any papers or anything else. Tap out the excess into the pan. I'm adding my batter now, and I am using a kitchen scale just so I can make sure each layer is exactly the same, because I'm horrible at eyeballing this sort of thing. The recipe makes just enough batter for 3 6-inch pans, so double it if you're using 8 inches, triple it if you're using 9 inches. Before I toss these into the oven at 340 for a little while, I'm gonna add cake strips to the pans. These are gonna give me a nice even bake and make sure the cake is nice and flat with no doming. I'm popping this into the oven for about half an hour or until the centers are nice and springy and the edges are just pulling away from the pan. While my cakes are in the oven, I'm gonna get started on my Italian buttercream. I love Italian buttercream because it is so creamy and it's not too sweet. If you love sweet stuff, substitute this out for an American buttercream, which is just confectioner sugar, a little bit of cream, and of course, butter. Into a small saucepan, I'm adding in 1/3 of a cup of water and 1 heaping cup of granulated sugar. I'm gonna mix it up just a little bit until the sugar is dissolved, and then heat it over medium-high heat until it reaches 240 degrees Fahrenheit. While my sugar is heating up, I'm gonna start adding in my egg whites and whip those up at the same time. They should end up ready together. 5 egg whites for this recipe, and they should be at room temperature. Add in just a dash of salt, 2 dashes of cream of tartar. After it becomes nice and frothy, we're gonna add in 1/2 cup of sugar. And we're gonna mix on high until we get to the soft peak stage. That's a beautiful soft peak, you can see it right there. Since we're at the soft peak stage and my sugar's at 240, I'm going to drizzle the sugar in carefully and slowly while the mixer is running on low. Then we're gonna mix it until it reaches room temperature, which could last 15 minutes. You can always pack the sides with ice to speed things along. Afterwards, we'll add the butter and we'll be done. So my meringue is at room temperature now, and I want to show you how gorgeous it looks. I almost wish I could just frame this. Look at that. It's so beautiful. I can't stand it. Anyways, now we're going to turn it into buttercream by adding in a little bit over a pound of butter, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and give it a little bit of a mix. So add your butter in about a tablespoon at a time while the mixer is running on low, and it'll all just come together magically. My cakes are out of the oven, and I want you to take a look and see that they're just pulling away from the sides, so you know that they're done, and they're a little bit springy. Let's pop them out and hope that they release nicely. Let these cake layers cool so they reach room temperature, and then we're gonna decorate our cake. Italian meringue buttercream is really soft. So if your cake is warm, it will melt the buttercream. Don't let that happen. So we're gonna whip up a small batch of American buttercream and give it some strawberry flavor too. It's gonna be delicious. Starting off with 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature into a standing mixer fitted with a paddle attachment. I'm gonna add a healthy pinch of salt and then let it mix up a bit. Now we're adding in about a pound of confectioner sugar. Cover with a tea towel and mix on low. We're gonna scrape the bowl down and then add the flavorings. I'm using a couple squeezes of lemon juice and a tablespoon of strained strawberry preserves. Okay, we're all done. I love this color. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like this beautiful, soft blush that's totally natural just from the strawberries we added. I'm reserving about 1/3 of the American buttercream to use for my roses on the top of the cake. I'm adding in the smallest amount of soft pink food coloring so the edges of my petals will have a little bit of a deeper pink. I'm filling up the rest of the piping bag using another piping bag with the paler pink mixture. I have a little bit of parchment paper on a piping nail, and now I'm gonna pipe a cone using my 127 petal tip. The cone doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to build a mound. Okay, now we can start with the inside of the flower. Pipe a spiral out. And now individual petals around the spiral. One more petal and we're done. Now I have a little rose that I can add onto the cake at a later time. Time to assemble. So I'm using a piping bag with the tip cut off to pipe on my first layer of buttercream. Now we're gonna add the second layer of the cake on, repeat the process, add the third layer on, and then give it a really thin crumb coating. This is just gonna hold everything together and not let any crumbs get on your very soft Italian meringue buttercream. This cake is getting a little ombre treatment. The bottom's a very soft pink and the top is a sherbety lemon yellow. Do a smooth gradient in between by adding in various amounts of food coloring to about 5 batches, and then this pipe rings on the side. Use an offset spatula and or a bench scraper to smooth the cake out. And now it's time for the final decorations. I'm mixing it up a bit by adding in some colored chocolate Easter eggs with the flowers and then topping it all off with a beautiful little chocolate bunny. Really easy, super festive, and I love it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I am in love with this pink to yellow ombre. It's so like cheerful and springtimey. It's just like perfect, in my humble opinion. Hope you get to make this. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe.